Thanks for staying with us. Welcome back to the show. And we're starting off newspaper review with The Nation. Major headline. Edun, Idris, take first shots as 2025 budget defense opens. Environment Minister makes presentation before lawmakers. Sanwo-Olu signs 3.37 trillion budget, inaugurates Ikeja GRA roads. Okpebholo, council chiefs unable to account for 83 billion naira allocation. CBN suspends export proceeds repatriation extension. Council poll, court to rule on Osun APC case next week. Nigeria seeks raise of $2 billion currency swap deal with China. Federal government threatens to terminate road contracts in Southeast and South-South. And court freezes general hydrocarbon account over $225.8 million debts to First Bank. What story are we starting with?
Okay, so I'll take this last one. The court freezes general hydrocarbons account over 225.8 million because the 718 I read online is outrageous. The Federal High Court in Lagos had ruled on the Mareva application and granted a Mareva order, which is an order to freeze assets and accounts belonging to a person or a company. And in this case, the accounts belonging to Hydrocarbons Limited in all financial institutions were frozen. And this company is owned by Uzoka-Anite, the chairman of Arise and the publisher of these days newspapers. Also, the other individuals affected, the other is family members who are directors of the same company. One Efe Damilola and Olabisi Eka Obayagbona, and others are GHL 121 Limited, iMonte Nigeria Limited, Khalidin Global Resources Limited, CESL Oyo Production BBS Limited, owner of FPSO Tamara Tokoni, and CESL Oyo Production O&M Limited. The rest are Vital SA, Mercuria Energy Trading SA, Trafigura PTE Limited, Glencore Energy UK Limited, Schlumberger Nigeria Limited, Schlumberger Overseas SA, and Baker's Hughes Oil Field Services.
All of them are
and they also restrained GT Bank, Access Bank, Citibank, Carbon Microfinance, EcoBank Nigeria, Fidelity Bank PLC, and all others. The banks are many from allowing any transaction in his accounts in their accounts in this company. They issued the report, also carried the BVN of it's detailed. So First Bank has an action to recover the amounts in question.
This is very similar to the topic we took on Monday about publishing names of debtors and all of that.
No.
But
so
this one, they've gone to
this is a court order now,
It's a
so
court
you have
order.
access to court records and you can go ahead and publish because it's no longer a private matter. So they had gone to get this Mareva order to ensure that by the time they get their judgment, these monies will be available. The assets will be available to recover
collect.
the money in question.
Okay, so I have the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has suspended approvals for the extension of export proceeds repatriation. This is a move aimed at enforcing compliance with existing foreign exchange forex regulations. This directive, which came through a circular, applies to both oil and non-oil export transactions. The circular was signed by the acting director of CBN's Trade and Exchange Department, Mr. Kanya, which pointed to the Foreign Exchange Manual, revised edition March 2018, specifically Memorandum 10A, subsection 23A, and Memorandum 10B, subsection 20A. Yes, as the legal basis for this decision. Also, the CBN says that exporters must strictly adhere to the timelines for repatriation of export proceeds, which is 180 days from the bill of lading date for non-oil exports and 90 days for oil and gas exports. Yes, the Apex Bank insisted that these timelines are non-negotiable. You must. With effect from the date of this circular, the Central Bank of Nigeria will no longer approve requests for the extension of repatriation of export proceeds for authorized dealers on behalf of their customers. He says that this policy places stricter obligation on exporters and the authorized dealer banks to ensure compliance with repatriation rules. He also says that and he also warns that non-compliance could result in penalties and other regulatory actions. So this is a new one, and they are being strict. It's not negotiable. So, and the banks have the obligation to inform their customers of this new regulation.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I have a story of the Sanwo-Olu, the 3.36 trillion. I wish other states could generate this amount. I'm telling you, the states would be like London. Yeah, so they said the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on Thursday signed the 3.36 trillion 2025 appropriation bill into law. They said the budget aimed to address infrastructure, economic diversification, and other critical sectors in the state. I also said that in the budget, 62% has been allocated to capital expenditure, that is infrastructures, and then 38% to recurrent spending. They also said that the 2.34 trillion from total internally generated revenue, that is what they generate internally.
4 trillion.
2.4. And then 626.13 billion from federal transfers. These will help to, on innovation, accountability, and fiscal sustainability of the state. He further, the governor further commended the Speaker of the House, that's Mr. Mudashiru Obasa, and the entire leadership of the House.
Honorable.
They didn't put honorable here.
Right speaking.
So, Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, leadership of the House for the prompt passage of the budget. And they also said that the lawmakers have all approved, and of course, it has been, they did it through voice votes and all.
That's good. At least the budget is huge, but we want to see quick implementation and conclusion. The story I'm taking is from the Minister for Works, David Umahi. He inspected a lot of the roads in the southeast and south parts of Nigeria, and a lot of construction work have been very slow. He was talking about and they're going to terminate some of the contracts. So he threatened them that if they don't meet up with the milestones and timeline, they will be terminating the contracts of these companies. CCECC has contracts to do the Section 3 of the Umaya-Aba Road, and the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway is being handled by Arab Contractors Limited. Then the section 5 of the Arab Port Harcourt Road that is being handled by the CCECC. There are many other roads. He also spoke about the fact that some people feel like the legacy project that the president said he was going to carry out is not being funded. He said they have plans to fund it between May, next month, February, as well as May of this year. There will be disbursement of funds to continue work on the legacy project of the president. But it is also a major eyesore driving to VGC yesterday, and I saw the state of the abandoned,
they are abandoned for a very long time.
For a very long time. And Lagos State knows the impacts of abandoned projects. We'll now start going back to doing environmental impact test of if those things can still do what they are meant to do before they continue work. And I have a feeling it might just be funds. If they are not doing the work in time, you should cancel the contract and re-award it to other people.
But sometimes there are clauses that restrict that. To
abandon it, I know our governor is responsive. As I'm saying this now, I'm sure before tomorrow we'll have a press release on the states why the VGC, the road by the VGC.
No, but I think maybe they are waiting for, because they are constructing some of the road on Shango-Tedo axis. So I'm thinking they are waiting for that to finish up. To link it up.
Because I wanted to say that the governor has been good.
But
because your own area, those on the island is a terrible thing.
If you see all the
but they should just hurry up.
Speed is very important. Moving on to the Punch, major headline: Nigeria-China plan collaboration on military training, arms production, and China announces CNY 1 billion, that's their China currency yuan, grant for Nigeria and others to train over 7,000 military personnel. And Biden, Trump, others pay tribute as U.S. buries Qatar, the former president. It's a state burial. Senate grills finance minister over subsidy savings. Man jailed 2 years for defrauding America of $45,000. Sanwo-Olu has signed the budget of 3.36 trillion for 2025, and General Hydrocarbon Nima is taking that story. Afenifere Igbo offers support as police squad combats Southwest bandits, and power stagnates at 4,500 megawatts despite $3.23 billion loan. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll continue with front page review. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're continuing front page review. We've read the headlines in Punch. Nima, you have a story.
Yes, I have the power generation stores that 4,000, hovers around 4,500 megawatts. The story says it stagnates. So this story takes a record, an inventory of how we've generated power in the past 2024 and all the loans that have so far accrued to this situation, totaling over 3.2 billion in 4 years from several international institutions such as the World Bank, the African Development Bank, Japan International Cooperation Agency, and several other loans like that, which have supported the power sector to billions, to the tunes of billions of dollars, but we do not see the effect. They said as at Thursday when they went around for this report, power showed the peak of 4,743 megawatts as of 6 p.m. Thursday. And the average power generation in the past 3 years have just been around 4,500 megawatts with all the several
interventions and
that
money
we've had.
here.
So they have, since 2020, the World Bank loan that was approved, the AFDB loans that were approved. The report takes it stage by stage. I don't want to take the time of the show, counting everything, but it's not encouraging to see this. Somebody should audit how these monies have gone, so that we can trace and see what effect it has, and see the one we can channel. Because what we really need is new infrastructure. That one is not. We can't continue to use this infrastructure and not expect the grid to collapse.
All the
We
time.
need a new system that captures the new population, the growth, and the expanse of the country and states around.
Okay, so I have the story of the Yahoo boy. They said the man, he was jailed for. They said the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has sentenced one Chima Nkwacha, help me, also known as young billionaire. That's what they wrote, young billionaire here, but Barao, to 2 years imprisonment for defrauding a United States citizen of $345,000. They mentioned all the names he used. He used different names, Frank Niels, Frank Cobert, all different. They said it was a cumulative sum that he was collecting them in batches, and he defrauded. Her name is Linda Wheeler, an American, and he received the money, the naira equivalent of this money at this Genox Global Nigeria Limited. This is the company name, and the account is a Zenith Bank account. And they also said that he used the money to buy Mercedes Benz, normal, 2 gold necklaces, pendants, 1 gold bracelet, $2,200 cash, and 90,280,934, all in this account, this same account. He also has a 3-bedroom terrace duplex, 3-bedroom bungalow, self-contained apartment. He really invested this money very well.
It seemed like he made a wise
Made
investment.
a wise investment. So they said they've convicted him 2 years in this thing with a 2 million naira file. And I'm like, why would they say 2 million
No,
naira
but they've
fine?
seized all of the...
Yeah, they've seized everything.
So
But
it's
after
a good
still
thing.
small.
It's a good thing he invested
still
well,
small.
because that way the monies that they collected can go back. Instead of him blowing it at Dorime, that would have
Popping
blessed.
champagne. Okay, so there was gang on Thursday, yesterday. The Senate on Sunday took on the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, over how much the federal government has saved and spent since the removal of fuel subsidy in June 2023. Edun, who appeared before the Senate for the defense of the 2025 budget, was also taken to task on how much the federal government is spending on debt servicing. In a dramatic move, he did not have answer. He was flustered and did not have answer. Apparently was not prepared for the questions, and he requested for a closed-door session with the lawmakers to provide answers. While struggling for answers, Senator Ningi Birchi, PDP Birchi Central, now urged Edun to explain how proceeds from fuel subsidy removal were spent in the 2024 fiscal year. Edun also asked him that what is the budget performance achieved so far for the 2024 fiscal year, particularly in terms of capital expenditure. We haven't heard from the minister how much has been saved from the removal of fuel subsidy and how much has been expended. We also haven't heard from the ministers about debt servicing. How much have we actually used to service our debt in 2024? He asked in 2004, how much are we expecting to service debts in 2025? Finally, will the Minister of Finance guarantee that the extension of the capital components of the 2024 budget to June 30, 2025 will give the desired results in terms of implementation that has a very low percentage? And then they said that Edunase asked them again, are we in a closed door session? Before I can answer, if we are not, please, can we have a closed door session?
It's
so
not
that
a
I
public,
can
it can't
talk
be made
and
public to all of
answer
us.
the question.
This your drama is like,
Anyways,
why can't you dramatize this story?
now in the see there, so there's no
As the matter
public.
they see they settle.
The matter they see they settle since yesterday
For
for
closed
closed-door session, because they told all the journalists and everybody to
go.
leave.
It's a private
So we
matter.
never know that nothing has been
Whether
made
there's been subsidy
to
or
the
the
public, domain
It's a matter
for
of-
us to
of
know
top security.
what happened to our money.
Interesting. Let me take a good bit of good news. The minister for, actually this is from the foreign minister for China, Wang Yi, has visited, plans to visit 4 African countries before in a week-long visit. So he's visited Namibia, Congo, currently visited Nigeria, and then he's going to Chad before he leaves on Saturday. And part of the good news from this meeting is that Nigeria will be getting much needed collaboration on military production of equipment as well as training for our military officials. This was supported by the Minister for Foreign Affairs from the Nigerian side, which is Yusuf Tuga, and he spoke at the State House to the State House correspondents after the meeting with the Chinese Foreign Minister as well as the President at Aso Rock. Following up with what the Chief of Defense Staff has said, General Musa had explained in a lengthy interview at Al Jazeera about how many of our frontline officers don't have access to much needed equipment. So, and this is because there is a lot of bureaucracy that is a lengthy regulations often delay the delivery of the desperately needed things to the frontline troops. And we're hoping that based on this conversation with them and the agreement with the Chinese Foreign Affairs Minister, we would be getting the much needed support to support our military to produce locally in Nigeria. That side, that's part of the story really excited me, that they are looking towards partnering for production within Nigeria as well as military training for the Nigerian army. Moving on to our next paper, Daily Sun. Federal government raises alarm over new COVID-19 threats, urges unified effort against emerging pandemic. In other news, gunmen kidnapped 2 Catholic Reverend sisters in Anambra. Kudos trail Birchi governor's dismissal of Tanimu's policies reform. He's playing irresponsible politics, starts from the presidency, and governor's right, says MBF, PDP, others. In other news, we have Governor Mba signs land use regulation, executive order creating new urban areas. Pope Francis fears World War III, calls for global dialogue to prevent it, and China to increase currency swap deal in line for Nigeria. Banks issue of Panda bond. I think that's a very important story. Who has it?
So I have it. The Chinese government has backed our request. That's the Nigerian government's request to increase its currency swap line, and it plans to issue Panda bonds. So both countries renewed their currency swap agreement, which is valued at 15 billion yuan. That is approximately $2 billion, to enhance trade and investment between the two countries. This agreement, according to them, is valid for 3 years, and it aims to strengthen financial cooperation and promote the use of both currencies in bilateral transactions. I'm seriously hopeful of this. I expect, this kind of swap as
most of our transactions are with China, but we're now paying through dollars. So if we can directly swap, we don't have to go through dollar to reduce the dependency, and
Naira would
might appreciate. So what story do you have? Amaka Ramatu, kidnapping in Anambra State.
Okay, yes. So, sorry, 1 second. I'm bringing out the story. Okay, so gunmen suspected to be kidnappers have abducted 2 Catholic Reverend sisters, Vincentia Maria Nwankwo and Grace Marette Okoli, in Ufoma community of Anambra State. The victims were kidnapped on Tuesday, January 7, 2025, along Ufoma Road as they were returning from a vocational association meeting in Oguchi. Statement signed by Sister Maria Sobuna. She's the Secretary General on behalf of the Sisters of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, Mother of Christ, said the sisters that they had gone for their vocational studies, and on their way back, they kidnapped them, and they have reported this to the police. The police said they have gone to do spot assessments at the area where it happened, and they are going to really locate and find the people that did this. And in the meantime, the sisters have asked people that please that we should put up prayers for the safe return of the Reverend Sisters.
All right, we also join in the prayers for the safe return of the Reverend Sisters. Moving on to Vanguard, our final paper for today. Major headline: insecurity. Nigerians lose loved ones, now live in fear. Mass abduction characterized 2024. Northeast rank highest. Southeast tops ransom payments and accounts for 40% nationwide. Cyber criminals defraud Nigerians of 8.8 billion naira. Over 200 security personnel killed. 140 policemen in FCT, security experts CSO, speak on challenges and opportunities in 2025. That is a story you need to read, Nigerians need to read by themselves. However, there's another interesting story. Somebody ticked MBS to include prostitution, other illegal activities in GDP calculations. Sad story, bloody January, accidents, fires, claimed 242 lives in 8 days. And Chadian capital calm after deadly presidential palace attack. Can we take the NBS?
Okay, yes, so I have the story. They said the NBS to include prostitution and other illegal activities in GDP, and I'm wondering how they are going to get this data.
Illegal activities.
Yes, illegal activity called prostitution and drugs. So they said the National Bureau of Statistics said that illegal and hidden activities like the prostitution and drug peddling will now be included in the calculation of the country's GDP. And this thing. So they also said that they disclosed this at a sensitization workshop on GDP and consumer price index. I think they want to know the amount of money that at least Nigeria consumes at the end of every year. So they said the GDP is expected to capture new segments such as the digital economy, activities of pension fund administrators, and National Health Insurance Scheme, Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, activities of modular refineries. They are going to capture all of that. But they are going to make sure that they also include the prostitution and the drug peddling, because he said that there are some supermarkets that you go to the supermarket, they are selling regular product, but they are also selling these drugs in their supermarket as well. So they need to add them to this GDP so that they can know what's going on and everything. I'm just wondering how they are going to get this prostitution data, because the person will not come out and say this is what I am.
If they start on Old Ojo Road, by the building you shall know them.
Then they have to register.
By the number
They will
of
have to
rooms you
register
shall know them. They will
themselves.
register
Anyway,
them.
that's what we can take on front page review. We're happy for people in Chad because there's a bit of calm. They tried to attack their presidential palace, but 19 assailants were all killed. They said there were about 24 of them that came in commando style to attack the presidential palace, but they were warded off. 19 of the assailants
The government
died.
spokesman, Abdurrahman Kolamullah, said that the 24 member commando carry units gun, but he called them a comic name in French. And things about.
We're happy that there's peace in that place. Yeah. That's what we can take on front page review for today. We'll go on a break. When we return, we'll move on to our hot topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view